one of my best games or best memories was 1984 game here against Ottawa Rough Riders. We beat them 66-6. It was just a night with a ball. Huff Nagel and Clemens just aired the ball out all night. And, that was one of the situations where the fans get involved, and one of the first times that I remember seeing the waves in the stadium, and how they would we would feed off that energy from that wave. And so that game in 1983, we lost the Western Final to the Edmonton Eskimos, the Great Warm Moon, and Dan Kepley. We lost. Actually, no, I'm sorry, we beat them. That was the first time we had beaten Edmonton in a number of years, and we advanced to the final with the BC Lions. But yeah, when you talk about those days, being able to beat the Edmonton Eskimos, and then going to the 1984 season, having such a great season with the likes of Clemens and Huff Nagel and West and Poposky, House. That was certainly some of my fun.
You know, this was always such a tough place to come into play. I broadcast that Ottawa game you're talking about in '84. I was doing color in Ottawa, and then my first year as a play-by-play guy in Saskatchewan in 1986, which is the Bombers the Bombers beat the Saskatchewan Rough Riders 56 to nothing. 56 to nothing. Jack Goda, the coach of the Riders at the time, used to refer to it as the ambush on the Red River. It was ugly. And you know, Tom Clements about 21 out of 24 at halftime. And Willard's got about 3 touchdowns. So they put Huffer in the second half, thinking that he'd kind of relax. No, Huffer didn't call off the dogs. He just kept airing it out. It was merciless.
Right.
So this was always a tough place for people to come in and play.
That's right. Then, even I think about when I first got here, guys like you talking about defense, James Reed. He was probably one of the most serious linebackers in the Canadian Football League. Defense around here, around these parts, is always, like they say, win football games and offense sells tickets. So it was always great for the teams that I played on. We always had a great defense.
Phil, you played on some real good teams, some
real bad ones.
Yeah, and some teams. But you did play in some good teams.
You played some good teams. Yeah.
All right. So let me ask both of you. Phil Murphy once said to me, the most important thing in football is it as simple as that? When a team is good or when a team is not so good?
I'm not a coach. I'm not a GM, but I say it's more than personnel. It's the personnel learning to play together. I mean, you could have the best, the most talented guys, but if they don't play well together, you're not going to be successful. You have to have a group of guys, and they don't have to get along off the field. I'm for sure James Murphy had a bunch of guys he didn't play with, but he didn't like. But as long as when you get on that field, you're on the same page, you're all buying into the same thing, you're going to be successful. So it's great having great personnel, but if your personnel play together, I would rather take guys who are going to play together over guys who are more talented than those guys who aren't going to play together.
In 1988, we didn't have the most talented team. We went 9-9, but we were still able to still had a good group of guys that were able to play together, and it fed off the history of the Bombers and was able to win the 1988 Grey Cup. So, like Milt said, it's just a matter of the right chemistry being together and guys having a mission, and that's one of the things that the Bombers always had. Was that.
You mentioned Ottawa. 1988, the Grey Cup game was in Ottawa on a not a very cold, but an extremely windy day in Ottawa. A day before the game, I was just wandering around the canal because they had a Grey Cup parade at that time, and I bumped into James Murphy, who was wandering around the day before the Grey Cup game. I'm thinking, shouldn't you be off your legs here? This is not very good. Anyway, James went out the next day and was the MVP of the Grey Cup game, so I guess going out and watching the parade didn't hurt any.
I don't think it was too late, Scott. Cal wouldn't approve it.
No, this was mid-afternoon, so this wasn't a late night kind of venture. We're going to take a pause. We'll come back and talk more to James Murphy and Milt Stegall, two of the very best to ever play in the Canadian Football League. We're live at the Blue Bombers store on CJOB 68.